Since the dawn of history, they have stood defiant against the sands of time, a monumental testament to human ambition, engineering, and sheer will. They are the Pyramids of Giza. 4.5 millennia ago, a civilization without iron tools, without the wheel as we know it, moved millions of tons of stone to build the tallest structures on Earth. This is the ultimate question of ancient history. We journey back to the old kingdom of Egypt to uncover the brilliant, brutal, and ultimately human story behind the pharaoh's stairway to heaven. Before the Great Pyramid, there was evolution. Egyptian tombs began as simple mud brick platforms or mastabas. But one man, the visionary architect Imhotep, changed everything. For Pharaoh Djoser, he conceived a revolutionary idea, stacking mastabas one upon the other, creating the world's first large-scale stone monument, the Step Pyramid at Saqqara. This was the moment the ancient world learned how to build up. The next pharaohs refined this idea. King Sneferu, the father of Khufu, pioneered the transition to the true pyramid shape. His attempt at Medum collapsed, leading to the necessary correction that produced the unique angle of the bent pyramid, a lesson learned in real time. Finally, the perfection of the form was achieved with the stunningly smooth faces of the Red Pyramid. These were the colossal practice runs that made Giza possible. Now the stage was set for the pinnacle of Egyptian architecture, the reign of Pharaoh Khufu around 2580 BC. Khufu commanded a kingdom at the height of its power and stability. His ambition was unmatched. His pyramid, the largest ever built, was not just a tomb. It was a cosmic engine designed to propel his soul to the heavens, guaranteeing eternal prosperity for all of Egypt. This project required more than 2 million stone blocks. It was an organizational feat on a scale never before seen. For centuries, the popular image was one of slaves toiling under the whip. But modern archaeology tells a different story. The builders were not enslaved foreigners, but skilled, organized Egyptian laborers, farmers, craftsmen, and specialized quarrymen. We know this from the lost city of the pyramid builders discovered nearby, complete with bakeries, barracks, and even a cemetery for those who died building the monument. They were compensated, well-fed, a unified national workforce driven by religious devotion and national pride. Precision was the first requirement. The foundation had to be perfectly level across the vast plateau. The builders used an ingenious method, likely involving water-filled trenches or incredibly accurate surveying tools like plumb lines and star alignment, to ensure the base was horizontal to within a fraction of an inch. Then came the alignment. The faces of the pyramid pointed with near-perfect accuracy to the 4 cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. They were using the heavens as their blueprint. The material came primarily from 2 sources. The bulk of the pyramid, the inner core, was locally quarried limestone from the Giza Plateau itself. The fine outer casing, which made the pyramid shimmer a brilliant white, came from the distant Tura quarries across the Nile. But the internal chambers required the hardest material: granite, transported all the way from Aswan, hundreds of miles to the south. The discovery of the Diary of Merer, a papyrus logbook, showed us exactly how this immense transport operation was managed via the Nile and a system of canals. Moving these blocks, some weighing upwards of 2.5 tons, was the central problem. The primary method was almost certainly the use of massive wooden sleds. Recent discoveries have shown that the Egyptians reduced friction by wetting the sand in front of the sledges. Droplets of water linked the grains, having the necessary pulling force. Thousands of men, coordinated by chance and rhythm, would have pulled these sleds from the docks to the base of the construction site. The ultimate question remains: how did they get the blocks to the top? For decades, the leading theory involved a single colossal straight ramp running perpendicular to one face, but this would have had to be impossibly long. The most compelling modern theory, supported by archaeological evidence found inside the pyramid itself, suggests a spiral or internal ramp system. This allowed blocks to be hauled along a path that spiraled up the pyramid's exterior or even through internal galleries as the structure rose. As the blocks moved up, the building process was meticulous. The inner core blocks were slightly less regular, but the outer casing stones, the magnificent white Tura limestone, were dressed and fitted with unbelievable precision. These stones were placed, and then from the top down the outer faces were polished smooth, creating a gleaming, perfectly geometric shield. The top-down polishing was the final act, erasing the evidence of the ramps used to build it. The pyramid's internal structure is as complex as its exterior. Deep within the core lie the king's chamber and the queen's chamber, accessed by the breathtaking grand gallery. The construction of the king's chamber, utilizing massive, precisely placed granite beams from Aswan, shows an understanding of structural load and stress that defies the tools of the time. The ceiling of the chamber alone required 9 enormous slabs of granite, weighing up to 50 tons each. The Grand Gallery is perhaps the greatest masterpiece of the interior. Rising to 28 feet, this space may have been more than a simple corridor. Some theories suggest it was the key to raising the heaviest blocks. A sophisticated counterweight or lever system, perhaps using sledges and ropes, could have been employed within this gallery's unique structure to lift and position the massive granite beams necessary for the upper chambers. This was high-level physics in the Bronze Age. Finally, after perhaps 2 decades of relentless work, came the crowning moment, the installation of the capstone, or pyramidion. This final piece, perhaps made of granite and covered in a layer of electrum, a gold and silver alloy, would have reflected the sun's rays across the entire landscape. The pyramid was complete. Its construction was a multi-generational project, an immense capital of time and resources, all focused on the singular purpose of the king's eternal ascent. The Great Pyramid did not stand alone. It was the center of a vast funerary complex, a mortuary temple, a causeway leading down to the valley temple by the Nile, and several smaller queen's pyramids. This entire complex functioned as a spiritual machine. While the white casing stones were eventually stripped away to build later medieval Cairo, the underlying structure has ensured the pyramid's immortality. It is a monument that literally shaped the landscape and the destiny of a nation. The precise techniques, the ramps, the levers, the final secrets may still be debated. But the most significant discovery is the spirit of the builders themselves. Their achievement was not magic, it was math, organization, engineering genius, and the unified effort of thousands of dedicated people. They took a wild, arid plateau and turned it into the most enduring symbol of human civilization. The pyramids are the signature of a nation that achieved the impossible. They remain more than 4,000 years later a mystery to ponder, and an everlasting testament to the sheer magnificent scale of human endeavor.